Welcome everybody to episode 18 of the Hot Drop. This one is a coach one. I got two of the most high profile coaches in the EMEA region with me here today. First part is with Scoom from Virtus Pro. Many of you might still remember him as a player as well for Team Liquid, Reciprocity, all those teams back in the day. And then the second one is TheTab, Twisted Minds, arguably the best team in the world. So super interesting stuff. A lot of questions from you guys on Twitter as well, made it into the end of each segment. And then lots of interesting conversations about how to coach a team, what the challenges are, what the ups and downs are like, and what they think about the new format, the Smash format that they have played in the rotation and will play in EWC. No more waffling from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I'll see you at the end. Welcome everybody to the episode, and for this one I am joined by, I think it's fair to say, an absolute OG of the scene. How you doing, Scoom?
What up? I'm doing pretty good, thank you.
This is an interesting one because the plan is obviously to do a coaching episode, but whenever I feel like you talk to a PUBG coach, almost every time they come from a player background, and then I think your story is even more special because you played on a really, really high level, and then you took a pretty long hiatus, I would say. You took a pretty long break from PUBG esports.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk me through how did the decision to basically retire go, and how did the decision to come back go for you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can start to why I retired, and it was the end of 2019, and we just finished Pro League Season 3. You know, we didn't qualify for World, so our year kind of ended short. I think it was like September, October, something like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wasn't too happy with our performance. I was pretty bummed out, and at that moment, I kind of like forgot about PUBG in a sense. I mean, we had nothing to play for, you know, you normally play other games and stuff like that, but I kind of like just went away just like to take a break. But in that moment when I kind of went away, lost a little bit of motivation, which I probably would have gained back. It's just like, you know, it's just like a reset button that I was hitting. At that moment, we realized that Pro League had finished, right? Like they completely closed it down.
Yeah.
It was kind of like GG. So it was like, it was that moment, didn't perform well. I thought that, you know, it was my time. I just knew it was just like my time. And when that happened, I was like, okay, I'm not going to go back to the open circuit. That's probably going to go and try to grind back up again. So with that, and Reciprocity also ended up falling apart. So it was kind of like everything just happened at once. And it was like, okay, this is a perfect time to just retire. But when I thought of that, I also thought like, I always in my back of my mind thought I would continue in one way or another in the competitive PUBG esports scene, because I really do enjoy it and like competing, and I love the scene and I love the game. So it's like, I knew back in my mind, like if I retire, I'm probably, you know, going to continue maybe doing some analyst work, some desk work, and potentially coach a team down the line if it fit me. You know, I didn't really want to coach a team just to coach a team. I just thought it needed to fit.
Yeah.
So that was the back of my mind. But then I had a gig, an analyst gig for GLL at the beginning of 2020, which I didn't end up going because of COVID. So COVID hit. Yeah. So with COVID hitting, I was a bit not scared, but I was unknown, right? For everyone at the beginning of COVID, it was kind of unknown. So with that happening, I just decided not to go. I told them I didn't want to take the risk and go in. So I didn't go for that gig. Ended up being a good event, but I kind of regret it. When you kind of turn down an event,
you don't get a lot of chances.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of chances in those moments. And I felt like I kind of blocked myself. And yeah, and I never really got contacted again to do another thing, you know. So then it was like months and months, and then it became years, and it's like, okay. And I didn't also push for it though. Like I didn't like ask, or like, you know, do you have any openings? You know, I'm more of like a close. Like if people reached out to me, I'm down, but I'm not the type of person to like reach out, right?
Yeah.
Like so that's what happened, and combination with that, with COVID, playing other games, I kind of like slowly dwindled away from the scene, and I wasn't really involved anymore as a watcher, even as a viewer or anything like that. I was kind of like AFK, and maybe I would tune in here and there, like watching some worlds or some PNCs and stuff, but it was very rare.
Yeah.
So I was away for quite a while, for sure.
Do you ever think about that? Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you took that gig and if you would just be like an analyst now? Is that
Probably
a thing that you could see yourself doing? Probably, right?
I mean, I kind of like doing it, but not as much as playing, and I would say coaching. Like I'm a very competitive person. I like competing or having something to work towards too. And analyst, although it was fun to bring like insight, because back in that days, like, there wasn't really much X Pros or anything like that, or even today, there's
Even
not really
today.
too many. Only Martin is the only real OG X Pro or kind of playing,
And
because
that's
we
and
didn't
that's
have.
7 years ago as well. So
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yes, it's
he's the analyst now, but an X Pro
yeah,
is kind of a
yeah.
different
So it's
thing.
like I did like it, but I every time it was weird because I did like doing it, but I would always back in my mind be like, I'd rather be playing. Like every time I did these gigs, I was like, I see them playing. I was like, I'd rather be there than here. Like I don't want this to happen again because I was only taking gigs when we didn't qualify to certain things, right?
Yeah.
Like Face It, I didn't qualify. The ESL in Poland that I did, the casting, Liquid didn't qualify, so I was only doing these casting jobs or / analyst jobs because I wasn't going to be there, so I might as well take it. They would ask me.
Yeah.
But every time I was there, I was like, I don't want this to happen again. I want to be competing. I don't want to be analyst, even though it's not nothing to do with like the analyst work itself. It's just I'd rather be playing.
Yeah.
And I had that always. So it was like I probably would have continued if I got that gig at GLL. But I probably would have transitioned to coach sooner, most likely. Or maybe
Because you would have never
maybe done both.
left.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably would have been more involved and then probably had more contact with teams and gotten something, I think that would have been a different route. But yeah, this is how life is, and I took a little bit longer, but I'm back. I'm glad to be back.
You came back to the Woo in 2023. Was it just sort of the EB connection? I think I saw you sort of saying, hey guys, like publicly, I'm open for coaching. How did that go for you? When did you make the choice? Okay, it's time to get back. And how did it go afterwards?
It was when because I play PUBG here and there throughout the years.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't grind too much, but I played here and there. So it's like when I think it was PGS 1 or PGS, I think it was PGS 1 that I watched it. I did like a watch party and it made me miss it. That was like, I think the first one I ever like fully watched the tournament. I was watching the scene and I was watching the way teams were playing. I was like, nothing's much has changed in terms of fundamentals, right? So I was like, I know that, and I missed it. And I knew I missed it in a certain aspect that I want to compete again. But I know I can't compete again as a player. I mean, I probably could, but I'm not going to be at the level that the players are nowadays. It's just, it will take too much time. And it's like, okay, maybe it's a perfect time for me to coach. I miss it. I think I can be a potential asset to teams. So I just, tweeted out openly that I'm down if any team wants to have me as a coach or try me out or whatever, right? I didn't expect much because at that time, most of the teams, if not all, top teams or like rising up teams kind of had already coaches.
Yeah.
And unless you know how it is in the world, unless you like kind of know the players or networking and you are kind of in the mix, it's kind of hard to get anything, especially since I've been away for so long. So I didn't
That's
expect
the
much.
main thing. You're so gone. You're gone from the scene and you're gone from everyone's mind as well. They're like, oh yeah, Scoom still exists. But that's a hard point to start from.
Yeah, exactly. So I left it open there on the Twitter, and I got the message from like an NA team that was like trying to qualify or something like that. It was but I didn't like NA didn't make sense to me because the schedule. I didn't want to really mess my schedule unless it was an offer from like an organization where it could be potentially paid. Then I would have thought about it. But like getting a team that it's not going to be paid and mess out my schedule is not something I like was open to. So I didn't really get reached out because it made sense. Everyone had their own coach. Everyone team was kind of doing well. So I just left it there, and I just left it, and nothing happened. Then I did another watch party for PGS2 and PNC, and I think it was just before PNC, was it, that EB ended up reaching out because I think Wookie, the old coach, was like stepping down. He wanted to continue doing it elsewhere, and at that point, Woo was a team that never really had, I guess, success. When they asked me, because I was looking at their results and seeing how they're doing, because I knew about them. I mean, I still knew certain teams here and there, and I knew about the Wood that they were always like 8th place.
They were always good in qualifiers and never good in
yeah.
finals.
Yeah,
that was the
because
Wood.
and it makes sense because the reason they do good in qualifiers is because the top teams are invited, right? The top teams are regional and they're not involved in open qualifiers, so they are the best. Normally the top 3 team in the qualifiers, but when it comes to then you're playing against the invited teams, and they were fitting right behind them always, right? So, but I know EB. I mean, we have history together, and I know who he is and how he plays. So obviously I was interested in the first part, and I just like took initially I would just like took in to see how they would play in like scrims, just to kind of trial and see how they fit and how they played. And initially, I was impressed off the bat, like how they what they were doing, right? And individually the skill, and mainly like Nixie back then. By the way, was Sauced, Nix, and Diffix. That was a roster
Yeah.
plus EB when I stepped in, right?
Yeah.
And I saw these kids, and I was like, that was like what interested me because I wanted potential, right?
Yeah.
I wanted potential. I don't want to fit in a team that's already been in the scene for a long time and kind of OGs. Like for me, bringing input there wouldn't make sense. I wanted some team that I knew that okay, this can be a winning roster, right?
And you can form something there. You can have impact there. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I saw these three kids, because I already knew how EB played, right? But when I saw it, like it was kind of my first time seeing Nix, Diffix, and Sauced, I was like, these are three insane kids, you know? Like there's big potential here if we form like a good team. But unfortunately, Diffix and Sauced got approached by Navi, and we had to do a lot of roster changes. But that was the initial roster. I mean, it ended up kind of working out for us because we ended up going Luca and Quiz, which are also really good. But yeah, I mean, like I remember my first scrim when EB messaged me saying like, "What do you think?" I was like, "These guys are insane," and I was like down to like I was ready to grind with these guys and try to make them a better team. So that's how it basically started.
So you had a bit of an idea of what you wanted. You had a bit of an idea of that you wanted to compete, but then you go into coaching a team. Was it any way that how you expected it to be? What were maybe some of the things that didn't go as planned, or how was your sort of starting process? Because that was your first coaching experience, right?
Yeah, technically it was. I've done like a few coaching like moments in the past when I was in Liquid, like helping teams out, like watching their replays and stuff, but that was like very minor thing. Yeah, I mean, like you said, for me, competing is the main thing. And people ask me, is like, do you rather play? And like coaching is actually just as fun because like rooting, it's like it's the same when you're rooting for a team as a viewer. Like if you root for the team as a viewer, it's much more fun and much more like exhilarating than just watching to watch.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of like coaching or being involved in a team kind of does, but in a great extent because you're involved.
Just way more intense. You're so involved.
And for me personally, it's you probably get this too, but it's more nerve-wracking than
way
playing.
more.
It's way more because it's out of your control. When things are out of your control, it's like way more nerve-wracking. When I was a player, I never, except for maybe my first ever tournament, I never got nervous. Like I was pretty chill. Like whatever happens, happens, and you're like whatever. But when you're watching and coaching, especially at LANs, when you're not too involved, right? You can't communicate with them. You're seeing the map, you're hearing the comms, and you're like, what's going to happen is going to be a disaster. So it's like it's horrible.
So
it's a horrible
bad.
feeling. That's the only thing I kind of dislike right now. It's the fact that you know they're going to make a wrong call and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to your question, like how coaching is. I mean, obviously getting into it my first time, because when I played back in the days, we didn't really have coaches like involved in comms and stuff, right? It wasn't a thing. The coaches would only be like, after the games they would talk to you kind of thing. Now, since it's so like online heavy, because back in my days, it used to be like EU used to have a regional LAN and then you would qualify. Now it's all done online. And when it's all done online, which is kind of also weird that each region has its own rules, but like in EU, comms can be with coaches, right? You can talk to them. And the main thing that a coach kind of brings in the game is kill feed, So when I first got into it, it's like they were telling me about like kill feed tracking, and that's like kind of the main thing, which makes sense. Like kill feed online is, or in general, is so important. And since the coach can just cover that for free.
So overpowered, right? Like
it is.
You need it.
Yeah. It's crazy because now my team, we're obviously practicing without me kill feeding because we're going to play EWC as you normally do. And I'm assuming that that's what GPT teams already are doing since the beginning because they don't need to really. I mean, you obviously still do it. You still do it for free, but they're more practiced. They're more like for us when I joined, like I was doing it 100%, and they wouldn't really bother. But since we went to PGS and stuff, they had to start like someone had to, or a few of them had to start like being more attentive to kill feed because it's so important. And we're really realizing that now. It's like they're practicing for EWC, and I see. Because I'm not giving any kill feed when we're scrimming, right? It's kind of pointless when you want to practice. And I see like how they play the game when they have half knowledge or some knowledge to when they have full knowledge. It's just insane. It's just insane how important it is to proper kill feed and know who's alive and how many are live, because it's so much easier to play the game.
It's such a difference. The game on LAN is completely different. The kill feed is a massive factor, but also like everybody has kind of shit audio on LAN because you have the crowds and shit, and you have these white noise headsets and stuff, and you can make completely different plays, and you have to make completely different plays on LAN, and that's something that like I think is really hard to explain to a viewer, because it's really hard to understand how much of a difference it makes to always know. Like, how many times online do you see a solo going unnoticed if he's in the blue for long? It doesn't happen. Everybody knows he didn't die. But on LAN, it's like, I don't fucking know, 15 people just died. I don't know if Boom Madzi is still healing for the 7th time in the blue behind me. I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Online, it never happens because your coach is fucking staring at the top right of your screen with a fucking Google sheet, you know? It's so different. It's so different.
Yeah, it is. There's definitely more solo plays in LAN that you see online, and online it's almost impossible to sneak in. Efficiently, at least, for sure.
Talk a little bit about LAN. For EB, obviously, that's not his first LAN. For you, it wasn't, but for the team, it was definitely a new experience. And you had I'd say a really bad first one at PGS3 and a really good second one at PGS4. What do you feel like are the main takeaways for you and for the team just from that experience?
One thing to add, like on that, I'm not a fan of like having 2 LANs, like the fact you qualified for PGS3 and 4. I wasn't initially a fan of that, and I'm still not a fan of that, but I think it benefited us.
For sure.
Because we managed to reset completely and start a fresh new LAN. Whether if it would have been like one, like all grouped together as one, like it would have been just PGS3, we would have gone to lower bracket, right? But maybe we wouldn't have enough time to reset, like, because it would have probably happened instantly, I'm assuming, right? So because we had like a reset period where we were scrimming in Chinese scrims, and we kind of like build up our confidence back up again and like fixed our problems, and I think that gave us a good like 1 week of reset. So if it would have been one tournament, I think it could have, I don't know, I mean, it's hard to tell, but I don't think it would have been as effective as having a break. So that's one thing to add, obviously. But PGS3 was a disaster for sure. We did not expect that, but it kind of like made a semi-sense as well, the way we kind of went into it. We were already in talks with like organizations beforehand, leading up to it, like a month. We hardly scrimmed. I mean, this has already been mentioned. Probably Nixie told you as well, right? In his podcast, like we hardly scrimmed. I think we scrimmed like 3 times or something, because we were just like so busy. People were like on vacation as well, and just back and forth talking. It just drained ourselves. Like we were just drained leading up to it. That's one aspect. I don't think it's a major aspect, but it's just like a tiny thing, I think. And then the first LAN together, our play style, like we kind of did a wrong play style for groups. Then the first game was kind of like we got ratted by Howl. And it's just like when you have a first bad game and you get ratted by that way that we did, it just kind of, it just snowballs. Like mentality is so strong. It's so important.
Mentality is crazy.
Yeah, it's the most important thing for sure out of anything. And I'm not saying like our boys were like tilted or anything like that. They're not those type of guys, right? It's not like they were like bummed out or anything, but it's just like a little slight thing here and there just can affect you. And then you start questioning it, maybe like, should we be something else? When in reality, we should have. Like, it's not like, you know, when you say like we're going to play this certain style and the style is not the issue. For us, it's what kind of was, because we played groups like we were trying to play finals, and that's not what you do. You shouldn't be playing that way. You need to kind of sometimes play a little bit slower, because you don't need to come first. As long as you're top 16, it's all that matters. Like you can come 16th or first, it doesn't matter, right? So that our approach was more like we were more trying to like win games rather than to just rack up some points here and there. And that's kind of something we did and reset for PGS4, and it worked out, right? So, and then when we got into finals, we just go back to our game and let it play out.
Play big. Try to go for big things. Yeah, for sure. I think that's something that's also really strange about this format. Obviously, no lower bracket means no second chances, right? Like one bad day and you're kind of screwed, especially mentally. But top 16 out of 24 is not that hard. You don't have to play well. You have to play okay. I think every team that is aiming to perform in the finals, they're gonna they want something way better than what you need for 16th out of 24. You really just have to be better than 8 teams. And usually there's like 3 to 4 teams that are completely in shambles. And then maybe some teams are getting a little unlucky. Maybe some teams are hot dropping. Like, it's really not that hard.
I think it's easier than achieving top 8 and then going to lower brackets and then top 8 again. I think top 16 out of 24 is actually easier.
Yeah.
If you play it smartly and you know what you need to be doing.
I can just say from like past experience that we've had group stages where we felt like we were playing absolute shit and we still got in the top 16 because it's a lot of the teams. It's 2/3.
I mean, this last rotation, right? Like you guys in Hokkaido, I think you had like Hokkaido specifically. I think they'd qualified with like 40 something points or something. It was a cutoff, right? 40 points in 12 games. That's nothing, you know?
That's nothing.
Yeah.
That's mental. Yeah.
Well, there would have been, then if you needed top 8, you wouldn't have qualified. Some of these teams would have qualified. Then you needed top 8 in lower bracket. I think that would have been harder overall, right? So.
I think it's a way better system as well, because I feel like in every lobby, if you're getting top 8, you've played well. So if you've played well in a weaker lobby like the lower bracket, then I think you deserve the finals because you were better in that weak lobby. But to get 16th in a 24-team lobby, you don't have to play well compared to other teams. You just have to be, you know,
not bad.
Yeah, not terrible. You just have to be not terrible. In rotation, we were terrible, and then we played one good last game, and we were qualified for finals. Like,
you
only
need out of 12 games like 2 good games. That's it.
Yeah,
basically.
You play 2 big games, and then you get 1 point a game in the other 10, and you're fine. Like, it's weird format. Not a huge fan personally, but I guess logistically it makes sense when they want to have events so short.
For two different lands, it kind of made sense.
I also agree with what you're saying. Like, it might not. I also don't think it's a cool thing to split these lands up. I think it's a bit. It's kind of just fake hype, pretending like it's 2 events when it's really an event cut in 2. But we had the same thing at PGS1 where we had kind of a scuffed land. We had like no stage, no audience, you know, everything was kind of small and budget. But for us, that was really good because there's like way less pressure, right? You're just hanging out in an internet cafe with the 15 other teams. There's no stage, there's no audience. So even though it might be worse, it might be good for your team still because there's just other teams that are way more used to the other stuff.
Yeah, I kind of missed having an audience. I think that was my first ever event without an audience outside of Pro League, obviously, that didn't have an audience. It's definitely needed, but you know, like you said, for some teams it can be a good entry point to playing LANs.
Yeah,
but it was too long. 1 month, 2 LANs, and like you said, it also like everyone forgot about PGS3 technically.
Yeah,
like, Cerberus won, but at the end of the day, who was the shining stars was just Twisted Mind because they won the second one, right? Obviously, they did well in the first one as well, but like people forget about the first one. And it's also for Sonics as well, right? Sonics got second and then they went out.
Yeah.
And you completely forgot about Sonics. Like VP, we got more popular than Sonics because we got third on the second one than whether they got second on the first one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so weird. It's so weird.
But also keep in mind, think about that thought when PGS 5 and 6 happened. Nobody's going to think about anything anymore that happened at the start of the year because there's so many events now.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the same thing in CS where it's like, oh yeah, Navi won a big tournament, but it's 4 months ago and it's 5 tournaments ago, so nobody remembers anymore. Nobody cares anymore, you know?
Yeah, people only care or you're just as popular as your last tournament, basically.
Yeah. And you're just as good as your last tournament. That's what you get judged on. Nobody remembers 21st place VP who played 1 game out of 12 and got all their points in that 1 game, you know? Nobody remembers that.
Yeah, that was such
crazy times.
That's a funny thing on that game as well. Is like if we just had 1 South shrink at any moment in that, we would have qualified. Navi would have been out.
Yeah.
By the way, because Navi was gas station, it would have shrunk away from them. They were doomed. But that's how PUBG is sometimes. But that was such a big game for us. I think that was also a major turning point for our reset button, to be honest.
And it was probably the reason you got invited to EWC as well, I think. Because if you would have finished 2 or 3 slots lower, you probably wouldn't have gotten the points on the power ranking.
Potentially, yeah.
To beat TSM.
I don't know how that ranking thing works.
Nobody knows how it works. TSM is absolutely tilted about the fact that it exists, but
they should have just done it like PGS points of PGS, like you know the PGS points, and that's it of P3 and 4.
Whatever you do is fine, but you can't have a
unknown
behind the doors, black box system decide who goes to the biggest prize pool event in the year. It's just not okay. In no world is that okay.
Yeah, teams should know beforehand like what they actually require and what points were people getting and stuff like that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. It's a PUBG thing.
That was wild for us because like we didn't know we qualified or not when we got third there. And I was sick. I was really sick. Like I got really sick on the the Saturday. I was a little bit sick, but the Sunday was horrible. Like I was with my mask, like away from the team, kind of as much as possible, just to not give them anything. And I remember that Sunday was after party. I didn't go. I stayed in my hotel room and I was just sleeping. And our manager came back like at 2, 3 a.m. or something like that. He came back in because he was with me in the room, woke me up, and I was like feeling horrible. And he told me like we are through. He was like, we made it. We went to EWC, and I just like woke up, and for that next 10 minutes, I wasn't sick anymore. Like that feeling, I just didn't feel sick. I was just like on my phone looking. I was like, like how crazy the body reacts to such a thing, and I didn't feel sick whatsoever. And I was like, it was insane that we actually managed to do it. Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people are interested in sort of what a PUBG coach does. Can you tell me a little bit about what your sort of main focuses are on VP now? What's the thing you do the most? What's the thing you put in work the most?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much do kind of almost everything in a sense, but depending what value it brings to the team. But like what I tend to do, I mean, basics as in when you're playing, if there's any misplays or team communication scenarios, we try to do reviews and bring it up and have discussions like how to improve in fine detail in terms of communication. One. Secondly, obviously, working now that Rondo came up, that's a lot of focus going into learning the map Rondo, learning the spots, obviously how Rondo is as well with the pillars and the water circles, exactly knowing where the endings are. It's very predictable. So, working with the team, mainly with like EB because he's a shot caller early game, so I work a lot with him to look at the map and just to figure out plans of what to be doing. Also, working out what other teams are doing, which is, it helps in PUBG, but not too much. Like you never want to go too detailed of what other teams are doing because then you're going to be thinking too much or like, oh, this team is going to do this and that and forget about your gameplay. But I want to know as much as possible from other teams still, even though it's for myself, maybe it's not like the team will use that information. I like understanding what teams rotate, how they rotate, just every detail as possible. I like studying other teams because sometimes you can pick up things from them as well, right? That you can bring to your team. So it's always good to be adapting and learning from other teams. That's another thing I do. And that's pretty much it, and try to assist them as anything as possible. You just try to be in the kind of the pitch in a sense. It's like whenever they want to practice, you're there. Like if they want to shoot you and stuff like that. It's just like anything, even outside of the game. If we want to help them on something, I'm much older than these guys. I'm now 32. They're like 22, except for EB, right? They're all 22, 21. So it's like anything they need outside of that, I'm also like just there. Whether it's like fitness, health, or whatever, stuff like that, I could help them out. So it's basically, I cover basically everything you could say that you can bring in the table, but obviously certain things you push more though, like the team communication and map understanding and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's always a topic. How much do you prepare other teams? How much do you prepare yourself? And I think it's so hard in PUBG to do that, right? Because you can have the right read and it can be really powerful, but so many times teams will just do stuff that you didn't expect. And like,
that's why I always tell them, like, never assume anything in PUBG.
It's
even though that,
but it's also, you have to make some reads to make your plays. Like you can't get all the information all the time. And it's like, it's such an interesting topic. Like I remember vividly, I was like,
sorry.
Yeah, on LAN it's completely different. Yeah, of course. But like, I had a situation where I was like, we were looting Primorsk, right? And we were, I think it was PEC Spring or something. Like we were playing and Exalt was really close to us on the scoreboard. And I had looked how Exalt loots Fairy Pier. And every single game, they have only one player in Fairy Pier. And he has this exact loot path. And I tell my boys, and I'm like, Ferris is always alone here. There's never anybody else. Like, he takes the esports, he drives it to the barn, and then he loots around. And we look at it on TWIS, and there's 5 games where he does that. Last 5 games they've played in comp. And Chris runs at them, kills Favorist, and he's like, I'm not sure if there's anybody else here. And I'm like, they never have anybody else here. And he runs to the car and instantly gets killed by Molodok, who's there. And it's just like, what the fuck do you do against that? You know, like, you could put in so much prep, but then they'll do it differently that one single game. And suddenly, like, you put in so much effort, or like you put in so much faith in that read, and it can completely fuck you over. And, it's so rough.
Yeah, that's why I like knowing those things, but it's like, as we said, like, you should never on top of that assume, like, you made a good read, you get the kill, now still I believe that there could be an anomaly, you know, and think that someone else could be there. But that's funny, like, I did this type of play way back when I was in Reciprocity. I have a vivid memory when we played PL Contenders the first season before we qualified to the Pro League.
We got
were
second
like
place.
We were dominating. We were like absolutely dominating. We were so far ahead, and Unity was second. And Unity was also, they were kind of close to us, but us two, we were so far ahead from everyone else. Like, it was basically, I think it was like maybe like 4 or 5 games left, and it was just us two versus each other. Like, no one could catch up to us anymore. And I was studying how they would play. I remember they were looting Novo, and they would come up the bridge, like when it was like kind of a North Saverny circle. They would come up the bridge, and they would go, you know, the southwest hill by Shelter on that road. They would stop there. Everyone would stop there to trade loot. They did this every single game. And we got that exact same circle. We went there and we camped them and we killed them. You know, I love doing those type of things. And
I remember that. What the fuck? I didn't know I remember that.
And we chased them down with cars as well. And one of them, funny enough, one of them killed themselves in the shack. The last guy self-killed himself. And that was the point we needed to win the tournament. Like, and it ended up being that exact self-kill that we lost the tournament on. But it was just, I love those type of things. I love doing that. I love like finding out like theory crafting and like doing things like that. That's way different to how you normally would play, right? So obviously, I love doing that for myself now, as like when I'm expecting teams and stuff like that. And I think it plays more into the Smash format, because into the Smash format, you sometimes need to like ruin some teams more than in the Super format. So these type of plays are gonna probably be more common. Where you're gonna find out and pickpocket what teams are kind of doing to play around it. So yeah, it's fun. But like I said, like now going to, for example, EWC. It's so hard to do those type of things, because in EU or in your own region, teams loot the exact same thing 99% of the time. But when you go to LAN, everyone is spread out. Now you have like, you know, for example, we are looting something else, or, you know, Sonics is not looting Picardo Pachinki, they're looting Gatka and they're looting something else. So it's like, it's hard. You have no information. You have no history of them looting there, so you can't do these reads. You just have to go by assuming what they would do based on that location. So it's only like specific teams that you can do reads on, you know, like for example, 17 Gaming is never going to leave Picardo Pachinki, so it's like you can study them. You know, 4EM is never leaving Yasnaya, so you can study them. But a lot of these teams are like always swapping. It's like you can't study. Like going to LAN, you can't prepare what teams are going to do.
And it's so counterintuitive, because you're like, holy shit, we made it to LAN. I want to prepare so much. I want to look at everyone and what they're doing. And then you start looking through the regions, and 2/3 of the teams are not looting their own loot spots anymore. And then maybe 1/3 is, but they're hot dropping, so it doesn't matter anyways. They can't play their plays. And then you find that one team, and it's like, and they've played 4 competitive rondos in the last tournament. Yeah, good luck preparing that. And 2 times they didn't reach their loot spot. And 1 time they were in the wrong plane, so they couldn't reach the loot spot either, because there could have been another team there. Good prep material, you know? Like, it's, you want to put in so much, and it's so hard to do almost anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
and you also realize how OP certain loot spots are. Like, if you look at every region, when you go to LAN, you know, like for example, Miramar, Power Grid, Picado, Minas, and North Los Leones, which is kind of all center. You know, every region has one team looting there. And it's like you realize that these spots are the spots to go. You know, it's very rare that outside of you, like for example, yourselves or Navi that are kind of looted edge, most teams are looting center, so they're all clashing all the time. So it's hard.
We had PGS1 was an event like that, where there was literally like, there was 5 Picado teams, and there was 4 Power Grid teams or something on Miramar. Like, the drop map looked crazy when you put 24 teams on there, and the edges were completely clear. Like, it was actually crazy. But no, if the center's stacked, you know, the edge gets better. But You mentioned new format there. That's the next question I had. I mean, I think all the viewers are caught up at this point. We have a format in place now that, at least for EWC, we don't really know. It's probably not happening for PGC. I think they said it's not. At least not for PC Fall. But it's a format where you have to reach a certain point threshold, and after that, if you win the next game, you've won the tournament. What are your thoughts on it now? We had rotation. I think rotation was kind of a best case scenario. Rotation went really well for that format. But what are your thoughts now as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to judge when it goes well. You know, like it's rotation, like you said, is a perfect case scenario. 17 games. The team that won the last game also would have won in Super, so it's like nothing changed. So my thoughts of it initially, first as a team, like I'm just going to talk about us as VP. It was very exciting for us, very like motivating to play, because we had such a bad first day. We had 14 points on the first day, and when you have a 14, that's like horrible. Like getting less than 20 points is just like you're not going to win the tournament, right?
Yeah.
In a 3-day event, you're not going to win. 14 points, it's almost impossible, especially when FaZe, BB, Twisted Minds is like on the top 5. You know, those are the really good teams, and if they're there, it's almost unlikely you're going to win the whole thing if you have one bad day like we did. Like it's like even if we have 2 good days, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So, but with this format, it was possible. Like, you know, we had a decent day 2. I think we got 3rd overall in the day 2. We were catching up, and then on the last day we won like 2 games, and we were at 98 points. You know, at one point, like obviously if we have 2 more kills there, like it was possible to do a comeback story, and that's what's cool about this event. There's comeback stories.
Yeah,
that's the pro, right? That's the one pro about it. It's like there's comeback stories, and every team has a chance, even if you had like us a bad day. So it's like that was cool. Like we were still like in it to win it. But it would have probably felt weird though. Like had we won it, it would have been super hype. Like imagine we reached 100 points and we won that last Erangel game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think as a competitor myself, it would have felt weird. Like we would have won when we probably would have finished 6, you know, or something like that overall.
We were thinking the same thing. It feels so odd.
Like we've played like crap. We had a horrible day, first day. Like we don't deserve to have won it. If we imagine if Fury could have happened, right? Like it would have felt weird. That I didn't like, you know, even though it would have been really hype for us. If that happens in EWC, you know, I'm going to be over the moon, but
EWC is going to be even worse because it's 2 days. Like there's there's a chance that somebody wins that just got really fucking lucky, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing. Luck is kind of a factor in this. Like to win games in PUBG is not necessarily a skill per se. I mean, it is. Obviously, you can put yourself in better positions to win and stuff like that. But most often than not, like one win is 90% of the time, like
there's a lot of luck involved, right?
Yeah,
it's always a mix of skill and luck, but there's you need certain things to happen.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to go to your side and to win the game, right? But to maximize points is not really luck. Like for you, if you get unlucky circles, you can still maximize points, and that's what PUBG is all about, in my opinion, about esports. Like it's about maximizing points, especially when you have a 18-game series. It's not about that winning games. If it was best of 1, like if it was just a best of 1 PUBG, then you know you needed to win the game most likely, and that's just going to be lucky. Rolling the dice, basically. That's how it is, and that's how this Smash format kind of is becoming, because you're kind of rolling the dice. Because if you reach the threshold, like for example BB, they need to win the next game, but 99% of the time BB is not going to win the next game.
No.
There's no way. If they're the only team in the threshold, they're not going to win the game unless the whole lobby is absolutely dumb.
Yeah,
they're not going to win the game. You know, it's impossible.
Yeah,
even when
everybody will know where they are, and everybody will do the best they can to not let them win. We already got a good idea of that, I think, because BB reached the threshold early. And then it was BB only, and then it was BB Lil W. I think Lil W kind of trolled the game, but even then, like that Miramar game where you guys were above them and Foot were above them, they didn't go for a winning play at all. They just kind of waited. But even if they go for a winning play, you both are trying to keep them from it. Like it doesn't matter.
That was such a weird game, by the way, for us, because we artificial teamed with them.
Yeah,
because in that moment we had such an OP spot, right? We were in the best position of all the 3 teams. And in a normal given scenario, in a normal super setting, we would have pushed Foot way earlier, had a fight, maybe had a risk of getting a knocked, and LW would have third partied us, right? That would potentially what could have happened. But we knew that we can't fight Foot now. If we fight Foot and get knocked, we're gonna give LW the win, and Foot probably thought that too. So it's like we were just kind of like we were kind of like Mexican standoff. We were just
Yeah.
like, no one's really pushing, but we're kind of looking at each other, and it felt so weird, dude. It felt
Because
really weird.
Foot was even worse than you, right? They were in a worse position. They have to make a big play to win the game. But they're not interested in that at all. They just want to kill OW, and then they'll try to do some Hail Mary play, but they're never going to give them a chance to win the game. And yeah, that's... I thought at first, if you give them a lot of chances, like if you're actually way better than the lobby, and you get to the 100 points or whatever it's going to be, I think it's 60 or 70 for EWC, very early, you'll get so many chances that you should have a good chance to win. But it feels almost impossible until there's maybe 4 teams, 5 teams actually trying.
Yeah.
Because it's not only that most of the lobby is trying, it's all the other good teams that are also trying to kill you, right? So as soon as all the other good teams are also trying to win, it changes a little bit. And that's where you can really start getting the wins away. But yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird.
But that's we're only talking about one aspect, I feel like.
Yeah.
When we're talking about the competitiveness, and it's not as competitive as Super. It never will be. But like you said, it's hype. And I think it's really exciting for viewers as well. And yeah, it was a best case scenario. But looking back at some of the past events, I feel like almost every event you have a winner in match 16 or 17. Very rarely does it actually get decided, or it does get decided in the last game every now and then, but even then it might get decided by 17 dying in phase 3, and it's like, oh, TWIS won now. Let's watch the rest of the game,
Yeah.
Not nearly as hype as winning a game to win the tournament, I feel like.
Yeah, that's the only con of Super. The only con of Super is the potential that it ends either early, like 2 to 3 games left that the team's already won, kind of, or the last game where you said, like, 17 gaming die 12th place, Twisted Mind get 1 kill, and they've already won, even if they reach like 10th place or something, right? And it's kind of anticlimactic, like when they win. I mean, the Subros win, right? On PGS3 was kind of like...
That was basically game 16, and then in game 17, it would have needed to be like a back-to-back or something.
Yeah. But then PGS4 was exciting in Super.
PGS4 was exciting.
They won on the last game, right? Twisted, I think. Yeah. So...
There's good and bad examples. There's Navi winning PGC 2023 in the last game, right? But then there's also, I think, Danawa, who basically had it locked in at match 17 as well.
Yeah. But the pro, like the peak of Smash is higher, like in excitement. Yeah. But it's also way lower.
That's a good point.
It's also way lower because if BB won on day 3 on the first game, and you just imagine you're just gonna there watch, it's bad.
Or on the second day, if FaZe wins the first game, gets himself 16 points, it's like, okay, we're going home. We played one game. See you guys tomorrow. Like, that's also terrible.
Yeah, that's even worse.
You make a good point there. I think the peaks are much higher, but the lows are much lower.
I don't think that. And if I think about that, I don't know if that's going to be worth, because the low peaks of Super is not that bad. It's not that bad. No, because you're watching quality. Because the thing is, in Super, every game is meaningful in Super. In Smash, not every game is meaningful in Smash. Until you reach the threshold, no one really cares. Yeah. Like, for example, us, like, we were doing bad in the first 2 days, but we still had the chance if we reached the threshold. Yeah. So our first game's like, who cares? Yeah. It's not meaningful. While Super, every game is meaningful. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know yet.
It's weird. It's also, I think what they would want to do is come back to this original Battle Royale thing, where it's like, winning is what matters, right? And this is one way to do that. It's just the problem that that's not competitive. There's just too much RNG in a win, right? That's the problem. So it's a really tricky question.
I agree with that. And that comes with us, like, as VP, we normally win quite a lot of games. Like, our win ratio is pretty high. And I still don't particularly like it that much. Yeah. But also, like what you said, like the winner chicken dinner, like that's what they want to go back to. And that's how it was maybe in 2017 at the beginning of the days. But I think that mentality of PUBG or Battle Royale is kind of gone. Because you can see it in streamers and pro players when they're streaming. Yeah. What do you see them do? You see them hot drop, driving around for kills. You don't see them anyone going for wins. They don't care. Like, a winning is like a plus. The kills is the most important thing. Like, it's kind of become like an open world team deathmatch where the circle's closing more than like you need to be the last man standing. You know what I mean?
It's such a
kinda
struggle
gone.
for me as well, because it's like this season you can actually get skins for ranked, so I actually want to rank highly, but you want to tell your friends that you don't want to hot drop, they're all going to look at you like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what's going on with you? You getting old or what's happening? You know, like, yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm not sure how much it applies to all of the player base and all the viewer base, because they are a lot more casual than your streamers and pro players that you're watching, right?
Yeah, but if you talk about these casuals, like I go on the PUBG Reddit sometimes, the official PUBG Reddit, not the comp one, right?
Yeah.
And they are very anti esports. Like no one really cares too much about esports. And what I see, the majority of the reason, or like what I've kind of read, is they don't like that. When they watch a competitive esports, like it's kind of boring because nothing happens. Everyone's kind of AFK, camping in the middle, and just like not taking fights, and then win the game. You know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of going against what you want to be doing, in Smash.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I feel like casual player base don't want to see AFK, nothing happening in the first circles, and that's what you're going to be getting anyways.
That's
Especially in Smash. In Smash, you're going to avoid, like if you reach the threshold, you don't want to show yourself anywhere.
Watch how BB played those games when they were the only team above the threshold. They were sending a center compound in phase 1 and not peeking shit and not doing shit.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
They completely switched up their game from taking control on the edge to we have to pray we get circle and then we can win the game. And it's just not exciting at all. Yeah.
It isn't. Yeah, it's going to force that more. And I think there was it James that said that if we reach the threshold, we're going to carry on playing the way we are and maximize points. Even doing that, it's impossible. Like you can't, like you said, BB, right? They're more edge playing style and play like going for kills and stuff like that, and they work their way in and they switch to going center, right? But if they carried on their own style, it wouldn't work either.
No.
Because as soon as they get into one team fight, you're going to get third party. You're not going to be able to maximize points.
Oh,
you have to play
BB is fighting behind us. We could get into zone. Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
We're sitting right here.
Yeah, you're doomed. You have to literally go AFK, and you have to play like
you have to not be seen. Like you have to be AFK.
You have to
in a
play
compound.
like if you're solo. Like if you're solo, when you're solo, like Kill Your Kai was just AFK soloing. Every 4 man have to play like that to be effective. And I think that's the way you want to play it. Everyone ratting and just hope for the best. If you want to win the tournament, at least,
Yeah, but, it's weird. I think it has some really nice upsides, and maybe in the end the hype outweighs the downsides, but we'll have to wait and see. And I will defend the rotation format. I think that was good. I will never defend the EWC format because it's fucking 2 days. It's a potentially a best of 10 for 2 million or something. Like that's crazy. That does not make any sense, and it never will.
It could potentially be even a best of 6 or best of 7.
You can get fed on day 1, and you can get lucky on day 2, and it's just over. Because remember also, that's LAN, right? Kill feed is a lot less clean on LAN, and reads are a lot less clean on LAN. When you can't look up what do they usually do in this circle, where do they loot, what was the plane path again? Oh, this team had 3 up. Yeah, this team was fighting here. There's so much info you have online that you don't have.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be exciting, that's for sure. It's going to be spicy. It's going to be hype, but how fair is it going to be?
It's not going to be competitive / fair. Yeah, we're going like away from that. But who knows if it's more.
The thing is also, like you said in Super, right? Every game matters if there's incentives to perform. So if the prize pool is there and the prize pool splits are good, then teams will continue to play their hearts out for a 3rd place instead of a 5th place, right? So it's not like all the hype's gone. It's not like all the matches wasted if the winner's decided already.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm going to move on to the Twitter questions. Okay. I asked, we talked about some other stuff already, but there's some interesting ones. Just going to blast through these. Don't think about it too long. They're short questions. But I mean, some of them are hard questions, so maybe you can't blast through. We'll see. What do you do when things are going badly for your team?
When things are going badly, obviously you want to kind of identify first what is the root of the problem, what's going bad. And then I would you try to bring back why things went well as well for them in the past. You try to bring them back to where things were going well when you're playing your A game, and just remember that, because it's so mental. Like you said, like we were talking about earlier, you're as good as your last game, right? And if you have a bad game, you're like, oh, we're crap. But it's like, no, look at your previous games before that, or your previous tournaments where you had banging tournaments, you had good communication, you had good rotations, everyone's on their game. Like, remember those times. Like, obviously, every team can have bad games. You can have multiple bad games. It can happen in PUBG. Like, no matter how good you are, you can have those moments, right? Because random stuff can happen. So it's like first identifying the root and then reassuring that you guys are good, like you've been good, and just like move, like just go back to that, you know?
How do you keep the motivation up when everything you're kind of working on is the thing that are going badly, right? Everything you're working on is mistakes and fixing them, or at least that's a big part of your work. How do you make sure it doesn't turn too negative?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can go maybe like give an example potentially. Like, let's say you're making a mistake where someone's always dying every game, early game or something. You're trying to fix that, and you're trying to like maybe force people to play together, but then it's still happening, or you're still playing bad, and maybe people are getting annoyed or tilted, right? And how do you fix that? And sometimes you don't want to nitpick too much. Like, it can happen where you can lose a player here and there, right? For example, just give an example. And if you nitpick so much on that and start shifting your playstyle to counter the mistakes you're making, you're gonna shift so much that you don't even know the identity of the team anymore or how you be playing, you know? So it's kind of hard. It's very individual, and it also comes down to the way the players react to it and understanding how the players react to it too, because some players are like very easy to like tell them like you're making a mistake. For example, I can just give an example. Nixie, like Nixie is very straightforward, and you can tell him he makes a mistake, or you can tell other people he makes a mistake, but he's doing it at the greater will of like improving, right? So it's like really easy to work with certain people and doing those things. So it's like very dependent on the players, but like you want to touch on it, but you don't want to touch too much that it could affect them, because they could overthink it, and then when you're overthinking, you're just playing way different. So it's like mention it, but don't go too in depth, I would say, in certain mistakes, and just try to do small drills over like just big drills.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, short answers. What do you like the most about your job?
I guess, I mean, the competitive aspect of it is for my job. Like, what I enjoy the most is like when we're just competing, when we're just in the games and in the moment. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
That feeling of having a team win a game, how exciting it is, and even the lows when you're just like having a bad game, like those emotions that you go, the ride is just, it's sick, you know, and that's just the most fun aspect of it. I also personally enjoy, like, I like theory crafting. I like studying like other teams and stuff like that. For me, that's very enjoyable, learning and stuff. So that's another aspect too of it, basically. Yeah.
What do you hate the most about your job?
Like what we talked about earlier as well. I the feeling of things are out of your control. Like watching your team make a wrong decision, and that feeling you get, like, I just get more nervous. I hate that feeling. That's the worst thing. It's also like, it's good and bad, right? Like it's like the yin and the yang, and that's one thing, I guess.
Yeah. I'll keep talking.
No, yeah, that's just that. It's just the feeling that at least it lands. Online is a bit different. Online, you're involved with them, so it's online is way better as a coach, to be honest, because you have more involvement. You could talk to them and do whatever you want. But like at LAN, it's just like you're out of control, and that's, I guess, what I dislike the most about being a PUBG coach.
But even on like a day one rotation, right? It's hard to sit there and have bad game after bad game after bad game and feel like you're not getting a grasp on fixing things.
Yeah, of course. I mean, as a competitor, bad results, bad days is the roughest thing. It always will be, because especially if you want to be the best, or you want to like be up there, right? Like having bad days is, but it's also, there's also light on that. You sometimes learn a lot from it. So without bad days, you're not going to improve, in my opinion. So
it was such an eye-opener for me. I was so nervous in the first few tournaments, like even online and offline. It was like, you can't, it's so different when you're not in the flow of playing and you're actually just watching and seeing things go down. And then also like online at PGS1 or something, when fucking, what was their name? They disbanded. Third Eye is like griefing us completely, throwing their own game away completely so we don't win the tournament because they think that's going to help their region or something. And I have to fucking sit there next to the third eye coach who's not actually coaching them, who's just getting drunk the whole event. He's basically just a friend there fucking having fun. And they're in 15th place and they're ruining a tournament. I don't think I've ever been like this angry in my life. It's like the ups and downs are just crazy when you're just sitting there and you can't change things. Like you just have to watch.
Yeah. So in PGS1 you had all the coaches like sitting together kind of thing, watching?
Oh, it was bad. We had one sort of room, but not everybody fit in there. Some people had to sit like in the lounge, basically like in the entry area of the internet cafe. And then some teams brought their managers as well, and the managers brought their girlfriends, and shit was way too full, and it was tough.
I guess that's one of the cool things about PGS3 and 4. We all had our own room, and I'm just like watching it with my manager. That's it, you know?
That's
or like any
super
friends I
chill.
wasn't. Yeah. That's my first experience as a coach, because I remember previously when I played, was the last one I played was Pro League, and in Pro League, everyone was kind of sitting in the back, you know, in the back room, just all together. I was like, it felt weird that you're all watching when it's like, this felt better as a coach, at least. I mean, I'd rather be involved somehow with the team, but like at least I'm hearing them in my own room, in my own space, and talking to my manager, you know? So
yeah, I don't mind either. I don't mind having a room with all the coaches, but then when just everybody's in there, everybody's walking through there, and then fucking, I don't know, some dude that's involved with Twisted Minds who's fucking 2 meters tall comes there with his girlfriend, and they just stand in front of the monitor, and I'm just here, hello, I'm trying to coach my team, please. Not a good time. Not a good time. Cool. We're approaching the 1 hour mark. I taught myself to keep this short like I always do, and it never works, but I think we can cut it here. I think that was a really nice talk. Thanks for coming on.
Of course, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Good luck at EWC.
Cheers. Maybe we get lucky.
Second coach for this episode is, I think it's fair to say, the coach of the best team in the world right now. How are you doing, Tab?
Yeah, I'm pretty fine. Hello, guys.
Hello. Is it Vitaly? I saw your Twitter handle is Vitaly. Okay.
Yeah, Vitaly.
Nice. I have a lot of things to ask you. We had some questions on Twitter. Half of them are from your IGL. Sasha was writing me a line of text, but I came up with some questions myself as well. And the first thing I want to ask you is, you guys have a very interesting setup where at the start of the year you brought in Hiruzen as like a second coach, but it was like a assistant coach, right? He's not like an analyst. He's helping you coach the team, right? Can you explain to me a little bit what you do and what he does in the team?
Of course, I'll not open each card with our team. So, but overall, like as a coach, I have a lot of job. Like I need to analyze something. I need to ask something players, like speak with them. Also psychology things, mental health, and so on. Like at the tournaments, also we need to follow our rules. It means also food or like each small steps. So, and even if we will look at this thing about the analyzing our team, like for players and so on, like how to improve a player, of course I'll check their POVs. So for overall, this whole map of my job is super big. So and just I have no time to live also in the real life. So yeah, and that's we ask higher than to come, because it was the solution, like how we can grow faster, and also how I can split my job, also feel free or freedom or something, like to feel a real life. Because especially for my day, how it works, I just woke up, like do my morning stuff, then go in gym, and then start working until 5 a.m. Yeah, that's it. I'll go sleep. So that's it. I'm not just.
There's no life.
Yeah, there is no life. Only like this stuff. So for now, anyway, it's kind of same, because I just found this thing that for me it's completely true. So if I have no work, I'll find it. Doesn't matter where. So I'll look something new, special things or something. Maybe you will see this special thing after, maybe at the PGC, maybe not. We'll see.
Nice. Sounds exciting.
Yes. So we just split our work, our job, and this, same. Hydrogens do the same things as me.
That's nice.
Just have to have.
It's nice to have. I think not a lot of teams have that kind of support from the org that they can just bring in a second guy. But I mean, it's working for you guys. Oh,
Yeah.
nice
Yeah.
cat.
Yeah. It's useless.
There's a big thing, obviously, about TWIS, which for a long time it was that you guys were insane, but you were never winning. You were never first in internationals. You've finally done that now.
Yeah.
What do you feel like was different? What do you think was maybe the problem before? Because everyone is saying TWIS is always choking on the last day. Do you think that's fixed now, or what do you think? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can show you a whole picture, I think. If we will remember this PGC Dubai, so we was completely confident at our win. You know that we know that no one stronger than us. So we enjoy this event, and until the finals, we still will was super confident. We know that we are winners or something. So, and this thing shows us like we are super young. Of course, as the players, as a team, we are super strong, but we wasn't ready to this mental pressure, I think. Not that mental pressure, we just didn't know how to think at the last of the day of the tournament. So that starts a pretty hard situation, which one you got, you know, like mental trap. Like each one outside will say that you're a champion or something, and you know that if you're a champion, you can't die.
Yeah.
So this is the way, yeah. You just got lots of mental traps. And yeah, it was pretty hard to understand that we are lost. We lose our finals. It was pretty damaged. So we like crying, so on. So
Yeah.
super cute things. Then we will find, I think, at the Malaysia it was a lot of hot drops. At the Riyadh, Sonic was pretty good, and also I think the PGS2 was a tournament which we can win
Yeah.
because we was ready.
Yeah.
But the situation with the Sonics, like zones and also games overall, was like it's okay. You know, we just lose not by ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we just lose the
Sonics was
race
just better.
against Sonic.
And
Yeah,
Sonics
just
got
better.
good zones. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So of course we can be better, but it's something around like 1 or 3% or something. So it was fair. And for Thailand, it was a Thailand, right?
Yeah.
We know that we have some issue, but we're still a super confident team. Of course, we're ready to win or something, and we're already super experienced. That's we are ready to have this mental thing, and each of us was ready to win. But for the last day, it was, I don't know, something special. No, it's hard to explain. It's still also a language barrier, but it was something same as in Dubai, but at a different level.
Okay.
We just was at the situation where we know that at the PGS2, we was using a strategy where we absolutely relax, you know, like just enjoy this time, enjoy this tournament without any hard things like we need to push something, we need to increase our, I don't know, mindset or something. Like we just enjoy this time. And for global at the Thailand, it was something same, but with small things because at the last part of the tournament, I mean finals, we know that we need to make this small step to improve ourselves, like to do something special for this event, to complete this, and finally take this trophy. And maybe that was a problem because we are not relaxing, so we are not enjoying this. We still have this noise from also players say it like, "Let's go, guys! Finally,
You have to win. Yeah.
you can." And of course, like zones sometimes say you like, not this day, bro. But it is not this, you know, side word which say it like, okay, it's zone, it's unlucky or something. So it's pretty bad words to say it's unlucky. Of course.
It's
By
an
the way,
excuse most of the time.
yeah. And also for a Riyadh, I think for a group stage, it was absolutely dead zones. Yeah, and then we joined this loser bracket and won it. And for now, I can really say that was a super crazy stuff. But anyway, if we got our games where we just make a mistake, like one mistake, two mistakes, this is enough to lose a group stage if you have a bad zones.
Yeah.
If you have a good or 50-50 zones, you can make maybe like 10 mistakes and it's okay, you will go forward, but not for a bad zone. So you can just give you like a chance or something. You need to,
you
be
need
a
to be
perfect
perfect.
guy.
If the zones are bad, you need to be really, really good.
Yeah, and this thought which we following this year, like we want to become a perfect team. So, and also that's why Harrison joined us. We want to create a big map for this team, like how to compete, so on. So we'll see. Yeah, also for the last tournament, it was PGS 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, where was this? It was the same situation.
Yeah.
As in Thailand. But we have a XMPL now. And we understand that was a first tournament with XMPL. And for now, this strategy, like each team should have a roles. Like so, and for China, roles wasn't so perfect as we have now, like so developed for XMPL and so on. But anyway, XMPL have had a super amazing performance. Like I was super surprised because it's absolutely like AI, not a human. So yeah, and super glad to have a XMPL at our team. So it's super comfort to work and so on. So yeah, I think we will handle these our problems. And for a PGS4, like we find this small step, and I think we can follow it and repeat, like back-to-back situations for second tournaments.
There's a lot more tournaments this year. There's EWC and then PGS 5, 6. There's going to be a lot of chances.
PNC?
Ooh.
Yeah, of course not. Maybe next time.
Maybe in a few years, maybe in a year. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because you put such a strong individual player on the team, but you have to still put him in the structure, right? You still have to put him in the in the roles of the team, and that can take a lot of work.
You should know one thing, that if you become a smart guy, it's super hard to become from smart situation to completely simple. I mean, if you have lots of thoughts, that means it's super hard to become a just simple guy, which one knows. So it's enough to have like one thought, go ahead, or something, push or something like without any thoughts. And if you will become smarter and smarter, that means you will split your energy, you split your mental health also for creating some new ways. So that's also our situation, because we become
too smart.
We grow, we are super smart at each part of the life. I think, like for sleep or something, how to live, how to like preparing your body for this game and also game events. So, and just a lot of thoughts, and we need to become a much simpler.
Yeah, it's a hard balance. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Even out of game, sure, but also in game, right? Is when you have too many ideas, you just have to go for one of them. You just can't. If one says, "Oh, we push this team," and one says, "Oh, wait," and one says, "No, we can drive over there," it's too much.
And also a different way, like, because you said now about the game tips, game things in game, but also outside the game, it's super important to have something. Maybe you remember you was at the PGS at Malaysia, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you remember that we was the first team or one team who used the speaker with the music, like to create our vibes. So this is a part of our this stuff. And also for now, for this PGS in China and Shanghai, I saw some players which one like stole our strategy for IRL, like with the meditation, breath technique. I was other doing that, and also I think Cerberus, Danawa. No, not Danawa. Which one Korean team? I forgot. So also one Korean team used speaker too, like to create their own vibes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we did it a lot at the previous one as well. We at the end they took our speaker away. They said it was too loud. Yeah.
That was interesting. That someone
it's really
like follow our path.
Yeah, it's really good. Stuff like that can really help. Okay, now there is a lot of people that don't really sort of have a good understanding of what a coach does because you don't stream the coaching. You don't like you see players play, but you don't see coaches coach. So I want to ask, when talking about stuff in game, what is your what do you focus on the most? Do you look at enemies the most? Do you go into custom games? Maybe with Sasha, you look for spots, or do you just watch the scrims and watch the individual POVs? What do you think you do the most?
The most, I think it depends. Depends on the time of like team preparation, you know, because we know that we have a year, a whole year. We'll have a start season where no tournaments or something. That means you can be focused on your previous tournaments, like to understand your mistakes or something, to create a new structure for this year. So that means first month, it's something around like to increase something from previous year. Then, of course, before the tournament, especially maybe last 2 weeks or something, I'll be focused on our game and especially at our players. Of course, I'll watch a lot of POVs, a lot of enemy strategies and so on, because I need to know that we are ready for this tournament. And there is a super important part that we know that we are a super strong team. That means it's super hard, super important be focused in us, not in us, like in ourselves than at the enemies, because for us it's enough to know that no one playing against us, so we can easily do something, like understand something. That's mean, it's not that. Can I repeat this?
It's fine. Because, I think what you're trying to say is you don't focus on the other teams too much. You're trying to focus on yourselves.
Yeah, but also this depends on our enemies, because if I see that someone have this want to have this rivalry against us, maybe like 17th or something for this position, or maybe they trying to create a strategy against us. Of course, I'll know this because I spend a lot of time on it. So it's super hard to understand which the most painful for my time thing which I focused. But I think I can easily say that it's a POVs. Like it's for one day, I have maybe 4 hours of gameplay for one person, right? And if I have no hires, then that means I need to check each POV. That means 16 hours, right? So it's just impossible to have this flow, have this pass of the way. So that's super good to have a higher than here. Thank you. And also, especially we have a different way to prepare for a different way to about the preparation before a tournament, like I mean LAN tournament, because this is in real life tournament. That means you should be ready for it, like to create your time not sleeping schedule, like your routine. You should know which country you will visit. You should know some rules. Also, we of course repeat our most important rules for LAN, something like that. I explore a lot of information about the psychology stuff, like how to communicate with my guys, how to understand them, and also it's super important part of the coach that the coach must be ready to connect a players, because he should speak for maybe I don't know 3 languages or something. When I said languages, I mean that we have our own ego, our own opinion. That's me, and each opinion will have a different language. So coach should understand which one means so on, and connect them. So
Yeah.
this is important part. I think the most important part, because without this guy who can connect, I think each team will just fall down
Yeah.
something. And also maybe we can check this situation with regional qualifiers or something. That's it's super hard to find a team which one was absolutely stable.
Yeah.
So maybe this is a part. This is the point that they just can't speak each other.
Yeah. I think it's extremely rare that you find, because you need to find 4 players, right, that are very good at the game. And then you need to have the right roles. You need to have some sort of IGL. You need to have people who are really, really good at shooting. And then they also have to want the same things, and they have to want to work together, and they have to like each other too enough.
Yeah.
Because there's so many problems in PUBG. There's so many things you can argue about, right? Every time you make a play, one of the persons can say, I think this is a good play. The other one can say it's a bad play. But there's no facts. It's just opinions. And you have to work with each other all the time.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to find a good mix. And
yeah.
I think a lot of players as well, like you said, regional qualifiers, open qualifiers, a lot of players keep looking for that mix, but they never find it, and they never look at themselves and go, maybe I need to be better at talking to my teammates.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the wrong teammates. Maybe we just all have to work to try and make this work.
Yeah, of course. And also, if we will check maybe a tier 2 guys, I think it's easy to find the guy which one, he's just thinking around like his own ego, his own play or something, and he never will ask himself about like how I need to communicate with our team. What does it mean, team chemistry, right?
Yeah.
So it's absolutely important part of the team.
Yeah.
So there is 2 ways how to handle this. It's first one, of course, grow by his own, and second one, it's have a coach which one can connect your ego. So yeah.
If you want to listen to the coach, if you're going to accept it, because that's not always a thing. That's not easy for everyone, because
I don't
almost
know. I think it depends on the coach, no?
Huh? Yeah, but it's talk.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
For me, it's super easy to speak with like each one,
Mm-hmm.
and he will understand me. I will understand him, so it is not a problem. And I never met a guy which one like it's possible to speak, and or maybe even he is absolutely in block situation, right? Like don't speak with me, like I'm absolutely angry and so on. By the time maybe like 5 or 10 minutes, anyway, he will speak with me.
Yeah.
So
maybe you're just
I don't know. It's maybe a superpower.
But
maybe yes, maybe no.
Do you remember
We'll
back in the day when you were playing for Navi or before that? Do you feel like, because I feel like when you're a player, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason you're a player, and that there's a reason the coach is a coach, right? Because you're the better player. So then when a coach comes and tells you, you can't be doing this, what are you doing? You know, a lot of people will have that reaction of, oh, but I know better, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying as well. You have to work on yourself to sort of be like, everybody in the team needs to understand that everything you say to each other is because you want to be better, right? It's not because you want to put each other down. It's because everybody wants to work on the team. And once you have that understanding, it becomes much easier, I think.
Yes, of course. Like it's the simplest way how to like have this communication, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, if this guy, which one say to you like it's no better. If he just don't understand this, like I am just come to you, that's mean I want to grow you, like help you increase your power. We will just speak for a different way, like from the facts, from the counts, like because counts it's the fact. It's impossible to compete against the counts. Like
you mean like stats or
not stats? No, like stable things. Like if you do this thing, that's mean you have this part of risk. That's mean how much percentage is for this, like how it's possible, how about the chances, right? Just the chances.
I understand. Yeah.
So it just depends
That makes
on
sense.
language,
Yeah.
which you decided to pick how to
I feel
speak
like
with
I'm
the
getting a
player.
coaching lesson right now. I feel like you're teaching me everything. I'm taking notes here.
Sorry.
Nice. No. But my question was new format, Smash Roll.
Yeah,
What do you
of course,
think?
right. For the first time, maybe from Dubai, I
Mhm.
find something in my soul. I mean the emotions, because it's absolutely dead. Like, because I'm super professional, right? It's finally impossible to find any emotions from tournaments, especially in internet, like online format, because you just sit at your home, like speak with your team, like of
Yeah.
course, yeah, we win or something. It's completely typical thing.
Yeah.
But for this tournament, I was something like, huh? But boom,
Excited.
FaZe Clan
Yeah.
finals? We still 3 alive or something, so it's possible to win
Yeah.
this tournament and so on. Yeah, of course I was tuned to win this, and was super interesting. But of course, as a coach, I understand that it's absolutely random, right?
Yeah.
Because also because of this new format, like have super strange, I don't know, ways to win. I think, like if you're a team which won first now,
Yeah.
and you need to win this game, that means each team which knock you
Yeah.
want to kill you.
Yeah.
That means it's absolutely impossible to hide you like for a whole map. Maybe, of course, it's possible to get lucky.
You have to get
And
really lucky. Yeah.
yeah, like if someone will win a Riyadh because of lucky,
Yeah.
it was like it
Yeah.
should be like brain explosion or something. But I think it's possible to handle. Maybe some rules, maybe not. So I'm just not thinking around that how to increase the like how to make this more fair. But because like we have we have to play Riyadh with these
Yeah.
rules. That's mean we need to adapt ourselves. So,
Yeah.
uh, but overall, for now, I think this is so much random. In case of that, no one don't know how to play, and each team, which one at the down of the shadow, they will decide to ruin you or something like. So
Yeah.
just high risk.
It was really interesting as well because you saw the teams played very differently instantly. Like the first game on the last day, where it was a north circle, right, next to La Corberia, very good circle for BB, and they just
They
send
got
it to the
two.
center compound and they just hide, you know.
Yeah. They got 2 circles at the La Cabrera.
Yeah,
What the?
yeah. But they were not playing like they normally play at all. They were
Yeah,
sitting in
for
a
sure.
compound and they were trying to do nothing because they know
Yeah,
if
for
they're in
sure.
the kill feed, even if they kill someone, everybody knows where they are. Everybody knows like we have
Yeah.
to fuck these guys up.
Yeah, it's all about the game structure because BB is
Yeah,
maybe a super edge team, right?
yeah,
They prefer to fight or something like to create their own space. And this situation where they should use this small compound to
yeah.
like trying to win something, yeah, of course it's not a typical game for them.
No.
So, and
And
also, by
and
the way,
everybody
anyway,
else plays different too, right? Like
yeah,
everybody else is
for
playing
sure.
against
Yeah.
BB now. It's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
strange. Yeah.
But the good thing that's it's super interesting for viewership, right?
Yeah.
Because there is emotion.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have this situation like you will just come for a final day
Yeah.
because
Yeah, but
what you
I
wanna find the
I
first one.
I heard that argument before, but it's the same thing in Super, no? Because in Super format, it's
Right?
also, I mean, it gets decided on the final day. You could just come for final day, right?
No, for a super, it's completely true. You should come not a final day for a final map
Yeah.
because you will find this. But for this format, you should
Yeah.
come for a final day.
So it's
So
better. Yeah.
the
There we
size
have
the
it.
size is much bigger, right?
Yeah. I think I was talking with Scoom about this, and he said basically the highs of this format, like the excitement, is higher, but the lows are also lower because it can get really random and it can get really weird. For example, right? If BB wins the first game, then it's over. You played one game on the last day, GG.
Yeah, you're right.
Everybody has to go home. Everybody's like,
Yeah.
what do I do with my 3 hours now, you know? Or even on the second day, if FaZe wins the first game, then they instantly on 100 points, and the first day ends, and everybody just goes home. You know, like it could have been really weird. So I think there's gonna be times where this format is really bad, but there's also gonna be times where it's really exciting. And this time it was
It's
exciting.
also super hard to predict, like really how much game you need to put for a day, especially for a LAN event. Like now for a EWC, we have a schedule for a last day where they put in time schedule as 16 matches. So that means we woke up, should wake up at the super morning, like 6 a.m. or something. And the previous day, we should wake up something around 12. And for a last day, a group stage, we have a games at the, like I think
in the evening.
The games, in the evening, something around 6 p.m. So it's just explode your mind. Like,
I heard about this.
What will happen with my body?
I don't know if it's public yet, but I guess it's public now. I heard about this. So the games start on 3 different times, from group stage to first day of finals to second day of finals. And it's really bad for the players, right? But it's also really, really bad for viewers, because nobody is gonna know. And half of the viewers are not there every time that some caster says, oh, tomorrow we start early. And then they forget to come in and the game's already over because we started at 8 a.m. Like, it's crazy to me. It doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah. By the way, I really don't know, is it public or not now or not? But anyway, I should
now we made it public.
Because, it's absolutely explode your mind, because you just don't know how to like move or something, how to understand. Like,
it's actually bad if you play games in the evening. If you get up at 6 a.m., like, you're tired in the evening. It's not the schedule you should have. But then the next day or the day after, you play at 8 a.m. So you have to get up at 6 or something. If you want breakfast, you maybe want to move around a bit. They probably want you to be in the venue at 7 or something. So you can't have a good schedule, nothing.
It's easy to understand, like, from the different side. Of course, they want to make sure that we can complete our event. So
but they would have to start the other days early as well. I think that's the only way. They should just start every day early if they're gonna start the last day early.
Yeah, I'm pretty tuned for a PGC format, because that was this. Do you remember this, right? Like, absolutely new format for a group stage, like how to qualify to grand finals. So I want to see this. How it works.
I also thought it would be really cool if they didn't plan in this much time on the last day, and then the closing ceremony would have to wait until PUBG ends, because then everybody would just go watch PUBG. Everybody's like, what the fuck? These guys are still playing 10 matches today, you know? It would be so hype. I think when I watched a little bit of Apex, and the most hype thing is they play this format all the time, right? And the most hype thing is when nobody wins, when it just takes forever and they keep playing and they keep playing. That's when it gets really exciting. That's when everybody comes to watch, because it's like, these guys have played 8 games already and they're playing one more now, you know? Everybody tells their friends, and then it gets really, really hype.
Yeah, and also one point, like, I said that it's pretty random, which means that's, okay, let's say, did you remember Team Forest from APEC region?
Yes.
So, imagine, this is the first LAN for them. It's PGC, okay, it should be a PGC or something, or maybe Riyadh. It's super huge tournament.
Yeah.
It's a first LAN for these guys. They have no experience about the LAN tournaments or something. They don't know about the rules, about, like, time, sleeping time or something, like this experience thing, huge experience part.
Yeah.
But they got a zone.
Yeah.
That means they won a tournament.
Yeah.
That means they now absolutely dominating team, which means the champions, so on. They're super strong and so on. It is not that pure. So just trying to understand, is it possible to handle with this random, like, as we made with super format and also chicken dinner format, like, because we was pretty stable. We'll see, because it's possible. If it's possible to handle, okay, it's fair. If impossible and lobby will, like, do some chaotic things, hard to say that we are champions or something.
Yeah. It's the same thing. But like you said, right? We'll have to see. But it's also, we're gonna play so few tournaments, so it's gonna be hard to have a good opinion because we're only gonna play it for a few times, and maybe sometimes someone gets lucky, sometimes someone doesn't get lucky. You know, you never know. Because I mean, with a little bit of luck, we could have won Brutality because we got to the 100 points, but we didn't deserve to win at all. You know, like we were not doing well, but it was the same us and I think VP as well. Like VP had a day where they in 6 games they got 14 points.
Yeah.
And in the end they could have almost won the tournament, but it's that's you don't deserve to win it. It feels really weird if you win it.
Well, this part, right? Because if I am a champion, I want to know that I'm dominating champion or something. I want to be confident that it's me, champion. But from a different side, right? I just got lucky. So
we'll see. I think maybe it's not the best format for the players, but if it's good for the viewers, then it's good.
Yeah.
Because we need the viewers and we need
I'm
more
okay
viewers.
if it's gonna be a super hype or something. So hello everyone who watch. Thank you for your attention. So on.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the Twitter questions. Okay.
Let's go. From Sasha, right?
Yeah, half of them are from Sasha, but half of them are from other people. I had to keep it fair. What do you do when things are going badly for the team? Like, you know, a bad day in the final, for example, or something like that.
Like, is it important to answer for LAN tournaments or for online part?
In general, just what do you think about when things are going badly? Like, not just one game, but you know, when you're having a bad day or you're having a bad like group stage, bad final, something like that.
It depends, because like each mistake, of course, it's like different sides of the mistake. If we'll have a structure mistake, like we forgot about, let's say, something about the shift of the zone or something, like we forgot to save our cars. Of course, I'll say, guys, do not forget about that, or we need to be focused on that, or we can like be better on this time, the second time or something. Just I'll find the words which one first of all will improve their mentality. Second time will have this I don't know how to say in English, like that's we shouldn't forget about this part, but without any, you know, like do it, my friend. Like not order, right?
Yeah. No, that's the right word.
Yeah, order. It is not an order. It's just information which they just will analyze by themselves. Oh, holy, really forget and so on. So just the typical stuff. But if you will have something really unlucky thing, like maybe Chris or Breakska, do some 4 headshots or something. Of course, we understand that this is a situation you can't handle this. You will just have some typical jokes or stuff. And of course, it depends about so small things. Like it should be like this, but it's impossible to say the whole structure of my words because it depends. Depends on the situation, depends the atmosphere,
depends on which tournament, it depends on what happened before.
Tournament, I can be silent because I know that guys they find this way how to fix the situation by their ways, so I can just understand that. I can just believe in guys like and say nothing. It depends.
Yeah, so. It depends. It depends is always a good answer. Every question you can say it depends.
Yeah, right. Really, I want to say like a whole structure, but I can't, especially because it's
that's okay.
my experience and so on, and also just because I have a language barrier. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
As a coach, you talk a lot about wow, I have language barrier too. You talk a lot about the things that you want to improve, the things that are going wrong. Like, you talk a lot about negative things. How do you keep things positive in sort of that context? Because you probably criticize, or maybe not criticize, but you talk about what you want to do better. So you're talking about negative things most of the time.
Why you say like negative things? because it depends on your attention and part.
Because
And
okay, I'll rephrase. What the
yeah.
players are already doing well is something you probably talk about less than than the things they have to do better, right?
So if we'll speak from this side, like which things a player should do better, it does not means that he was wrong or something. It depends on your mindset and so on, and also your words. Of course, I can say, bro, you have a mistake. You need to fix it. Of course, he will have a like defensive position at our communication. Like it's impossible to fix because it should be like fighting or something. So, but if we will use a different way of communication, how to say that this is not a mistake. This is just part of your decision. And for this situation, this decision wasn't like super correct. Or of course, I am not using a correct. I use it now because I have no enough words at my head. So I just will make the situation not offensive from my side. That I want to teach him something. I'll just make a whole picture where he will understand that his behavior, right? Fine. Yeah, his behavior wasn't correct for the situation. So he will just understand what he need to fix and how to do it. Or if he will not, he will ask me. So it depends on you, I think.
Makes sense.
Anyway, yes, this part which you said, like if you are a coach, you should come and say, yo, idiot, why you do this thing and so on.
No.
It's absolutely bullshit. It is not how team works. Like it's possible. It's possible, right? Because it depends on the people which inside the team. But for our team, it is not because it's absolutely inefficient. So
yeah, it really depends on the situation.
Right.
But most of the time, you're trying to not be negative. But sometimes, when things are going really wrong, it's good to give people a bit of a wake-up call, maybe sometimes. Be like, what is going on, guys, you know?
Yeah, it also...
But it really depends on the person, for sure.
Yeah. You can't... maybe for a situation, you will not follow your mistakes. You will just, change your view. Like, okay, we got these mistakes. How to say this? Okay, guys, let's focus on this game.
Yeah.
So it does not means that was a mistake. Just we need to be focused on these parts. So
yeah,
it's easy.
What do you like the most about your job?
Let me think, because there is a lot of small things. Especially, of course, it's travel. I'm not from a rich family or something, so and this travel things, jets and so on. I count the time which I was in flight. It's kind of around months. Like I spent months of my life in air, so so of course, yeah, it's new people, lots of communication with some interesting guys. Also, it's absolutely amazing to have a friends at each country in the world. So I can easily like text someone, especially in Korea. I ask Easy from the now like to help me. Yeah, of course he will. And also, if someone will come to my country, of course I'll help. I'll like give some tips and so on. Super amazing to like be part of this community. Second part, I think, it's about the efficiency, because as a person, you should grow each time. If you will just like stuck up, someone will praise you. So that means you should improve yourself each second, each minute, each hour, and so on. That means I will just become smarter and smarter, and that means I have like good future. Maybe after the esports or so this part, because of for now thing, it's super hard to find a guy which one absolutely tuned to hard job where you can spend almost your all time for in a day. As I said before, like 16 hours of working, so on. I can handle this, but it's super hard to find a person which one can. So
yeah, you're growing as a person as well.
yeah,
nice. What do you like the least? What do you hate the most about your job?
Hate the most. Let me think. Like and hate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely like. This is
Like is what you just
you.
said, right?
Yeah,
Traveling.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And hate is, what you don't
Of
like.
course, it also one more thing for things which I liked. It's new cultures. Like I
Mm-hmm.
visited a lot of countries and be close to a different world, like as I have at my country. It's absolutely amazing because I'm super interested.
Mm-hmm.
I have a super big interest to some cultures, and it's absolutely good to have this knowledge and also this respect and also this part of your new maybe you will change your opinion about some things or some people because you have a different view in case of your new experience like from culture or maybe thoughts.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to have. About the bad things, of course, it's jet lags. Like for now, my body just don't know how to. I don't know. I have no, this typical bio stuff. Like if I'll ask my body which time now, uh, my body will say something. I don't know where am I.
Yeah.
So it's I just don't understand how to fix this. How to oh that's from
Okay.
beginning because
Sure.
like it's super hard.
Take your
Ah,
time.
yeah. Hope yeah. First, the bad things it's a jet lag because the health super important for us. And for now, I have like not problems, just the strange stuff with my body. Like if I'll ask my body which time zone we have now, it's impossible to find an answer. So yeah, this part. Uh, Also, I don't know, maybe I I think that's it.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's it. Only one thing.
Jet lag.
Jet lags.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You love traveling, but you hate jet lag. So
yeah, of course. Yeah.
yeah. Cool. That was it for me. Thank you so much. I think that was a
Oh,
good talk. Thank you for
yeah. Yeah, thank you.
working through it with me. I know English is hard, but that was really, really
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, I'll become better.
Gotta
By the way,
grind.
what's for you, Koa? Which things you more like mostly, and the bad things?
Um, wow, that's a hard question.
Woo!
um, what do I like the most? I think I like being part of a team, being part of a group and you're all
Yeah, yeah.
working together and you're all trying to be the best you can.
Mhm.
That sort of feeling is super nice.
Have a
Um,
different like a family, but from
yeah,
a different side, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely true.
What I hate the most is, oof. I think what I hate the most is when I don't know. For me, very often it feels very hard to know if I'm doing something right or wrong,
Mhm.
and if what I'm doing matters at all,
Mhm.
because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you do your job well, then the players play better. But maybe the players play better because they're just they're getting
Yeah,
better,
yeah.
or they're just they're just having a good day. And if they play bad, maybe that's your fault, maybe that's their fault. It's never obvious, it's never
Yeah.
clear. And
Yeah.
I love seeing the results of what I do,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's completely true. Yeah. But I
and
fix this.
yeah,
Just I just don't think
you
around
have to
like
not think about
this
it.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, you
This is
can't.
the way because it's always like blow up your mind. So
Yeah,
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 you just do your job because you know that you're a perfect coach, and so just just
yeah.
go forward.
Simple, keep it simple, like you said
Yeah, yeah.
earlier.
Keep it simple,
Yeah.
right?
Cool. Thank you so much, Vitali.
Yeah.
That was very nice.
Thank you.
I'm gonna leave you to the rest of your day, and good luck
Yeah.
in Riyadh.
Thank you. So I hope see you soon.
Yeah,
Like at the
hopefully, maybe.
in Thailand or Malaysia? At the Thailand.
I think
Yeah,
it's
right.
Malaysia, no? No, it's
No, no,
Indonesia,
Malaysia. It's
no?
a PGC. No, no, no. We have a
Where's
maybe yes.
PGC? I think it's.
Malaysia, right?
I think it's Malaysia. Yeah,
So if Malaysia, okay, yeah. I hope see you in
maybe.
Malaysia.
We have to win PEC, I think.
So,
but
somewhere in Asia.
yeah,
So
you have to let us win PEC, okay?
let me think. Of course we will.
We need PGC points, you know. You have to let us win. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Bye. That was episode 18 of the Hot Drop. A long one, but I know you guys are down for that, and a super interesting amount of insights from the guys towards their teams and their work as coaches. And yeah, if you enjoy the content, using my creator code is massively appreciated. A link to that will be in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.